Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second part of our journey through the history of the greatest rulers. Today, we will continue to learn about those who changed the course of history with their extraordinary achievements and wise leadership. If you missed the first part, be sure to check it out at the link in the description. Now let's dive into the amazing stories of these extraordinary leaders. Elizabeth I. Elizabeth Tudor, future Queen of England and Ireland, was born on September 7, 1533, in a royal family in Greenwich. It is worth saying at once that her father was saddened by the birth of his daughter. Henry wanted a son because he needed an heir. The same was expected of Queen Anne, Elizabeth's mother. The king and queen loved their daughter but spoiled one child. After Elizabeth lost her mother, the queen, the king recognized her as illegitimate. Elizabeth received a good upbringing at a young age, speaking Greek, Italian, and French with tolerable fluency. In 1553, a conflict between possible rulers began, and it was a difficult time for Elizabeth. In 1558, the queen dies and power passes to Elizabeth. The day of her coronation is January 15, 1559. During her reign, England faced many problems, but Elizabeth handled them brilliantly. She was a Protestant, and her principles were reflected in her domestic and foreign policies. Her determination and wisdom helped to contain the power of Spain and strengthen England's influence. In 1588, the Spanish Armada was defeated by the English fleet, and England enjoyed a long period of prosperity called the Golden Age. Domestically, Elizabeth managed to reconcile Protestants and Catholics and consolidate her power. Her reign came to symbolize the English Renaissance, leaving behind many cultural and scientific achievements. Elizabeth never married, although there were rumors of her relationship with Robert Dudley. The Queen herself categorically denied this and assured everyone of her virginity. During Elizabeth's reign, England became a powerful and prosperous country. The Queen died on March 24, 1603, leaving her people an unforgettable legacy. Peter the Fool. Peter the Great was one of the most influential and reform-minded rulers in Russian history. He was born on May 30, 1672 in Moscow. The first years of his reign were marked by internal power struggles, but after Peter was proclaimed Tsar, he began to actively modernize the country. Peter the Great's military successes began with the victory over the Crimea and the capture of the Azov fortress. However, his desire to build a powerful navy and establish Russia as a maritime power forced him to break old stereotypes and begin global reforms. Peter the Great traveled to Europe to find allies and attract technology to develop his country. An important stage of his reign was the war with Sweden. Russia won the Battle of Poltava in 1709, ending Swedish influence in the region. Peter the Great's internal reforms were also impressive. He implemented military, economic, and administrative reforms, including reforming the army, gathering the people, and reorganizing the government. The capital was moved to a more western location, and construction of St. Petersburg began in 1703. Peter also paid attention to culture and education. He opened many schools and founded Russia's first gymnasium. His ecclesiastical and legislative reforms, though often brutal, were also aimed at bringing Russia up to modern standards. After his death on January 28, 1725, Russia suffered a heavy loss, but Peter's legacy remained alive and continued to influence the development of the country. His wife, Catherine I, inherited the throne. But it was Peter the Great who remained in history as one of the most important and influential rulers of Russia. Napoleon Bonaparte, one of the most prominent and controversial leaders in history. He was born on August 15, 1769 in Ajaccio on the island of Corsica and came from a poor, noble family. Educated at a military school, he quickly made a military career during the French Revolution. He became a general at a young age, and later led the revolutionary forces. In 1799, Napoleon staged a coup d'etat and became consul and then emperor in 1804. Under his leadership, France became a great military power covering almost all of Europe. The beginning of Napoleon Bonaparte's reign was successful, but the long wars he fought caused fatigue and discontent in society. The continental blockade of England led to the economic decline of France and other European countries. In 1812, Napoleon decided to invade Russia, but the campaign failed. The Russian victory at the Battle of Borodino, followed by the shelling and retreat of French troops from Moscow, was the beginning of Napoleon's end. The coalition formed against him, defeated the French army, and Napoleon was removed from power. He was forced to abdicate in 1814 and was sent to the island of Elba, but returned to France in 1815 during the 100 Days' War, but was again defeated at the Battle of Waterloo and was exiled to St. Helena, where he spent the remaining years of his life. He died on May 5, 1821, ending one of the most memorable chapters of world history. Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln is one of America's most important and revered leaders. Born in 1809 in the Kentucky town of Hodgenville, he grew up in a farmer's family and became one of the most shining examples of the American dream of self-improvement and success. Even as a young man, Lincoln showed his talent for politics and public speaking. He was elected to the Illinois legislature and then elected to the U.S. Congress in 1847. At that time, he was already an opponent of slavery, and his abolitionist views were becoming more and more vocal. The election of 1860 brought victory to Lincoln, and he became the 16th president of the United States. His election sparked outrage in the southern states, which began to secede from the U.S. This led to the Civil War, which became the bloodiest war in American history. Lincoln emerged as a leader capable of running the country during the war. He proclaimed the emancipation of all slaves in the southern states through emancipation, which was one of the most important events in the history of the fight for equal rights. In 1864, Lincoln was re-elected for a second term, giving him the opportunity to end the war and implement Reconstruction programs. However, his term as president was tragically cut short in 1865 when he was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, a Confederate sympathizer. Lincoln's death was a great loss to America. His legacy includes fighting for equal rights, the ability to reconcile, and the desire for freedom for all Americans. Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi was a prominent Indian politician and spiritual leader known for his commitment to nonviolence and pacifism. He led and succeeded in the movement for India's independence from Britain. Gandhi was born in 1869 in the state of Gujarat, India. At the age of 19, Mohandas Gandhi traveled to London where he received a law degree. In 1891, after completing his studies, he returned to India. As professional activities in his homeland did not bring Gandhi much success, he went to work in South Africa in 1893, where he led a movement against discrimination against Indians. In 1915, Gandhi returned to India and 4 years later actively joined the movement to achieve independence of the country from British colonial rule. It was not until 1947 that India gained independence. Gandhi was assassinated in 1948 by religious extremists. His work and teachings inspired millions of people around the world to fight for peace and justice. These 5 great rulers had a huge impact on history, leading their countries to prosperity and leaving a rich cultural legacy. They represent different eras and cultures, achieving outstanding achievements in various fields. Don't forget to leave comments about rulers not mentioned in this list. Thank you for watching the video to the end. Stay tuned for more videos on the Story from History channel.